When I just begin to think I can't hate the celestial dragons more than I already do, Oda Sensei appears out of nowhere and is like, look how more disgusting these creatures can get. Man, this was a depressing chapter. We had many highlights which did hype me up, which is mainly the information of God Valley and Saturn's powers, which I want to get more into. So let's not waste any time, grab yourself some snacks and water, and let's get right into chapter 1095, A World Not Worth Living In. And for the cover page, a squirrel monkey is stealing Buggy's nose, and not his fake nose, his actual nose. As you all know how Buggy's devil fruit works, so he can, basically detach his body parts. So I think the monkey just jumped on Buggy's face and took his nose, thinking of it as an apple or something. Either way, it's really funny, but you know what's not funny? This chapter. The marine soldiers are running away as they are ordered to be not even near Saturn, as they are not worthy of his presence. They are pretty much terrified of the man who is even above those so-called gods. After that, we go back to what happened last chapter. Bonnie has picked up a sword and just straight up stabbed Saturn, as this is considered a sinister crime, like stabbing a celestial dragon. And this is also kinda ironic too, because this reminds me of the time when Bonnie stopped Zoro from cutting down a celestial dragon, and now she is the one who stabbed a guy who is even higher than the celestial dragons, which is, understandable, all the things she's been through. Now, to punish Bonnie for her crimes, the vice admirals get ready to attack, but then suddenly Saturn is like quite down insects. If I didn't want to get stabbed, I would have dodged, implying that he already knew what was gonna happen. He just didn't give a shit about it, as if his fat ass could ever dodge. He probably dreams about moving fast, but jokes aside, he most probably is immortal because of all the hints we get in this chapter. Firstly, his wound healed up immediately after he took the sword out, and the second hint is his appearance, which didn't appear to change at all in KUMA'S backstory, which was 37 years ago, by the way. And if it is true that Saturn is immortal, then the rest of the Gorosei might as well be, which is really bad when you think about it, because if they are immortal, then how is Luffy gonna defeat them? Throw them into the ocean? But that problem is for later, as Sanji tries to save Bonnie, but he gets hit in the head by Saturn's unknown attack. I don't know what that attack is, as at first I thought it was probably the same attack that Shanks used against Green Bull, which was just a burst of Conqueror's Haki used to freeze Green Bull in a place, which Saturn does do later on, but Vegapunk clarifies that if it's not science, then it has to be devil fruit. So I'll take his word for it, as he is the smartest person in the world, because if it was Haki, then either Sanji or Vegapunk would have noticed by now, which neither of them did. So it's probably his devil fruit ability. After getting hit, Sanji starts coughing blood, and he is still in pain, and we all know how strong Sanji is. He is always the one to clutch up during these trivial times, as especially when it comes to women. Him not being able to do anything just shows how bad the situation is, and it just gets worse. Saturn pulls out the sword and his wound gets fixed. Even the blood stain disappears, which I know would be explained later, but all I know that in normal regeneration, this is something going back to its original state, which is even more terrifying. Thank God Kizaru is out, but that also is just a short-lived victory if you look at the bigger picture. Speaking of which, one of my favorite panel from the chapter, Saturn tries to go straight for Luffy, but Frankie saves him by punching him with the strong right, and poor Luffy is just spilling blood in his shriveled up form, and then Frankie catches Luffy back and proudly says, even the world leaders are after my captain's head. And I love this, as it signifies Frankie realizing how close our captain is to reaching his goal. Also, when Frankie saves Luffy, Saturn acknowledges that the Straw Hats are pretty strong, which is in itself is a great recognition coming from a Gorosei. Saturn goes to say to Luffy and Bonnie that you are surrounded by marines on an island on the brink of destruction. If by some twist of fate you can manage to escape, I like to see it. And this does imply that Saturn believe in Nika's fate, as he always seemed to escape from the world government's hand. After saying all of this, Saturn snaps into full villain mode and starts threatening Vegapunk, and basically he says he will kill everyone one by one in front of him, so that when he gets killed at last, he is full of regrets, which is a pretty fucked up thing to say, but hey, this is just the beginning of the fucked up things. We are gonna go only down from here. So following his list, Saturn decides to kill Bonnie first. While crushing her, he says a very peculiar thing, which is when humans are told not to do something, they do it anyway, implying that he does not consider himself a human. I mean, I wouldn't consider him human either, as he is immortal and shit, and he does seem like an actual demon. While Bonnie is getting crushed, Sanji is like, hey, stop it. They did my brother Sanji so dirty. He should be kicking ass, not getting his ass stuck to the floor. But I guess that's just how strong Saturn is. But still, man, let him fight back even for a little bit. Don't do him that dirty that he can't even stand against the villain. Bonnie, on the verge of death, says to Saturn that you killed my father. Meanwhile, Saturn is like, oh, Kuma, he was born a slave, a remnant of race of people that committed a grave crime, the lone survivor of the exterminated Buccaneer race. And let me guess, the grave crime that the race committed, they must have been not allied with the world government. That's it. That reason alone must have been the reason for the extermination of the whole Buccaneer race. I tell you, the world government is so fucked that they will just eradicate an island who is not allied with them just for fun, while Bonnie is being held for execution. She remembers her father's words. Kuma says, ever since he was a child, he wanted to be a hero, one who brought freedom to those who are suffering, just like Nika. Kuma admired Nika ever since he was a child. We even get a panel of Kuma dancing like Nika to cheer Bonnie up. In a hopeless moment like this, Bonnie asks him, will he set me free too? And she gets her answer, of course. Then we cut to the backstory of Kuma. 47 years in the past, in the South Blue, the Sorbet Kingdom. A very large boy was born, but to his parents, he was still a little boy. They named him Kuma. Kuma's father asked the doctor if they could keep Kuma's blood a secret, as he was a mix of the human and a buccaneer. Now, the buccaneer in our real world means a pirate or an adventurer, and in the world of One Piece, they are a mixed race being half human and half giant. Around this time, the world government was still eradicating the races and the islands who are not allied with them, which is a grave sin according to those bastards, and the buccaneer race probably committed that crime and got eradicated. Kuma and Kuma's father were the last survivors hiding in the Sorbet Kingdom, but that information got leaked somehow and they got captured by the world government. During this time, Kuma was only 2 years old. He didn't even knew what shackles, slave or anything was. He was used for labor because his strength was great, as he had giant's blood in him. He was tortured whenever he cried. He was threatened to get killed. After a while, Kuma finally met his dad. He said to his dad, my master is nice, I'm so lucky to have him. Kuma said all of this so that his father doesn't worry about him. At such a young age, he's such a good person. And if this was not enough, his mother died. That was Kuma's breaking point. All the time he kept himself together, but this news completely broke him. As he fell into despair, his father gave him a hope to live, a warrior of liberation, the sun god Nika. That name has been passed down through Buccaneer folklore for generations. Clinching onto this hope for freedom, his father showed him the dance of Nika for the first and the last time. The celestial shit shot Kuma's father right in front of him. Though, don't worry, we still have a shit ton of stuff left to hate them for. We cut to 10 years later, which is 30 years ago. The place is West Blue, and guess what the celestial pieces of shit are doing there? Vacation, barbecue, gathering party? No, it's native cleansing festival. And if you don't know what do they mean by cleansing, don't worry about it. They also seem to give out prizes for the winners in some kind of treasure box, which looks like they contain a devil fruit. So there are 6 devil fruits in total, which are probably gonna be stolen. And why I say stolen is because this island is God Valley. So rocks will be arriving on this island at any moment, and a war is going to break out in which Gold D. Roger and Monkey D. Garp fought together. But who knew God Valley was in the West Blue? I always thought it was in the New World, but I guess I was wrong. And it's called God Valley not because it was Celestial Dragon's island, but because of an abundance of natural resources, which is way better than some pieces of shit living together. Anyways, the king of God Valley tries to defend his island but gets killed by Garling. And I'm seeing people crawling for this man. So what if he looks sexy as fuck? I still hate this bitch. He's a piece of shit just like all the other celestial dragons. Anyways, he kills the king before the start of the festival. I'm guessing it's like a point game where if you kill the normal citizen you get 100 points, then a noble, then a king, and so on. So the king must have been 10,000 points. That's why he gets it deducted right from the start. And he says, yeah, I'll take it as a handicap. Like, okay, dude. We also see a panel of Saturn and he looks exactly the same, so we can assume that he is immortal. We also get some information that Kuma has tried to escape, but the rest of the slaves beat him for running away, because if he gets away they will get killed. Then we hear a very familiar laugh. It's a young Ivankov and a new character Ginny, who is apparently Ivan's younger sister. Related or not, it doesn't matter. In the world of One Piece, if he refers to her as her big brother, then he is her big brother. End of discussion. And I assume Ginny is probably Bonnie's mother, seeing the similar features and the name too. Ginny, Bonnie, Ginny. Anyways, even in such a dire situation, Ivan doesn't lose hope and asks Kuma if he wants to join them. Then the chapter ends and it's break next week. Holy shit, what an emotional dump this chapter was. Kuma's backstory has to be one of the most tragic one. Like, my man can't catch a break. He has been suffering ever since he was pretty much born. I'm very excited to see more about God Valley, not the festival but rocks. I want him to torture every single celestial dragon that is on the island. We are also gonna see how Whitebeard got his scar from Garling, who is most probably Shanks' dad, as Whitebeard said that his scar aches when he saw Shanks. Either way, I can't wait for the next chapter. Also, we are really close to 10 subscribers, so hit the subscribe button with your wooden canes. Also, the guys with advanced observation haki. Tell me in the comments what do you think is gonna happen next. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.